First thing to say is that the kingdom of heaven is in no way different from the kingdom of God. There is a system out there, on the extreme fringe if you like, which says the kingdom of heaven is not the same as the kingdom of God. That is a failure of ordinary intelligent reading of any narrative. All you have to say is that Matthew alone uses the phrase kingdom of heaven, and 4 times he uses the phrase kingdom of God indistinguishably, and then the other Gospels never use the phrase kingdom of heaven. There is no difference. So let your children understand this absolutely as a fixed datum. The kingdom of heaven is the kingdom of God. Now, where are we getting this from? The answer is the book of Daniel. The book of Daniel is fundamental to any Christian studies, and the book of Revelation, 22 chapters of Jesus, is only really a development of the book of Daniel. And both those books, Revelation and the book of Daniel, are really summarized by the Old Testament prophets. If you don't know the message of the Old Testament prophets, you're not going to understand the New Testament at all well, because it's presumed. It's absolutely at the basis of everything you think about. And seeing the crowds, he goes up a mountain. Here's the new Moses. You remember that Moses went up a mountain to get the 10 Commandments. This is the new Moses now, going up on a mountain, and he begins with this series of blessings. In Psalm 37, what do we find about the meek? Isn't that marvelous? I hope you have all those ready and marked to go with your friends. They will promote you to inherit the land. That's rather generous of God. We go back in our minds at least to Jeremiah 27 there, where God made the heaven and the earth, he made the animals and the men and all that, and he will give that whole thing to those who please him. And people say, well, not poor little me, I'm nothing. We get that, but why not accept what God says there? And you're going to live in the land forever, doesn't it say? Dwell in that land. So Abraham, the father of the faithful, to whom the gospel was preached ahead of time, was told to look north, south, east, and west. Not into the sky. The whole notion of going to heaven when you die has to be completely erased from the minds of people before they grasp the Bible. But you can see that commentators hated that verse. Those idiot disciples, they said in Acts 1:6, poor little besotted people, they didn't understand what the kingdom was, but they did. You see how serious that accusation is? It means that the professor, Jesus, who taught them the kingdom for 6 weeks of lecturing after he came back from the dead, and constantly during his ministry, he was such a bad professor, none of his disciples knew what he was talking about. That's what the devil loves to imply there. So Calvin says there are more errors in that question. Is this the time you're going to restore the kingdom? There are more errors, Calvin said, than words. Well, there are 11 words in the Greek there. So Calvin then, representing not God but somebody else, says, those silly disciples, they don't understand the kingdom. Or was it Calvin that didn't understand the kingdom? Don't make oaths in the same sermon here. For the earth is the footstool of his feet. Or don't make oaths by Jerusalem. It's the city of the great king. Indeed it is. And the kingdom of God exists in the Old Testament. You know, it's called the kingdom of the sons of David. You shouldn't resist the kingdom of God in the hands of the sons of David. You must attach the kingdom of God idea not only to Daniel but to Chronicles, where the kingdom of the Lord is a phrase found there in Chronicles, and it's the kingdom of the Lord in the hands, the power of the sons of David. And so this is a political story from start to finish. And Americans understand politics. All you do is transfer the political language to the only politics that ultimately counts.